I've been, of course, doing a lot of Fire Emblem Heroes reactions, and this is another Fire Emblem reaction, but not Heroes. This is something else. And I'm sure people are already seeing this, but we're going to react to it, and I'm going to speculate on what I think this might mean.
It's just one merc.
Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
You clearly need every blade you can find, and my pockets have been feeling awfully light lately. What do you say?
Shez or Shay or something?
If I'm gonna do what I need to. Here it comes.
I'll be counting on you as always in the battles to come.
Let us walk forward on this path and see where it takes us.
Everyone, sharpen your blades and prepare for the battles ahead.
We are here to fight by your side, Your Majesty, and so we shall, now and always. I love how you can bump into someone in the woods one night and suddenly you're living under the same roof the next.
Now that's what a battle-hardened mercenary should sound like. Maybe I'll just let you handle all the hacky slashy stuff. All this bloodshed. Will it never come to an end?
You got my back? There! Careful! Let's link up. Yeah, good to go. We'll do it together! This world cries out for change, while you keep it shackled to the past.
We can finally avenge all of those who have fallen.
Am I gonna be next?
You were the cog that was missing from the turn wheel. The one final push that urged me to act.
Trust me, no regrets here.
I'm the closest ally you have. Remember, we're partners in destiny.
Gonna be one hell of a fight, especially if the Ashen Demon is here. Don't like a smidge of what I've heard about that fella. Or was it a woman?
Okay. Alright, so that's the new Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes trailer. And I think it really does put a big dent and twist on what we had thought about this new character here, who seemed to be the main antagonist of the game previously. But now it appears he's actually the protagonist instead. And this doesn't mean he doesn't become an antagonist at some point. And this trailer is definitely very misleading. Like the first thing that people have said about this trailer was, "OMG, Bias the antagonist." Come on, it's obviously a red herring. Like, yes, I like, yeah, okay. Bias is definitely a rival for Shay, for Shez or Shay for sure. I like people also calling it Shez instead, or Shay. But either way, Bias is being an antagonist is a total red herring for sure. And I'm sure Bias can be playable as well. But it's interesting to note, we're not actually seeing Bias with the Sword of the Creator. I thought Bias had Sword of the Creator first trailer, but I guess not. It was actually like when Shay attacked Bias and broke the sword, that wasn't Sword of the Creator. So people have been wondering about what that actually means. But we do know that Bias does get enlightened too. So that does happen. And of course, Sothis and this character I think is called Arval. Arval is obviously Sothis's rival. I thought it was a goddess, but maybe it could be a more like a boy like character. But I think it's another goddess or some sort. But from what I've seen, it's this character is most likely a Garthan related, and there's definitely a Garthan themes too. Like we haven't seen any of the Garthans yet, The Argarthans are also those in the dark. We haven't seen the Argarthans yet, but their presence is definitely felt. But there are some notable differences too, though. We actually get a look at Aelgard's weapon here, because we already know that this is not her Aemir weapon. But these two, they have their Argarth weapons, so it's like their Argarth are gone. They're still here. But Aelgard has this sacred weapon here. And it's actually a sacred weapon. Sacred weapons are weapons that are created by the Nabati, the children of the goddess. They're created by the Nabati, and they are basically their powers are enhanced if you have their crest, but they can be wielded by anybody. So this sacred weapon here is Aelgard's sacred weapon. It never exists in the original game, but there's also another one we saw in the trailer too. So first up, okay, so yeah, we have Byath here, and something more about the Ashen Demon name. The Ashen Demon is actually what Byath was known as before the events of Three Houses. When Byath was a mercenary who didn't have much of a personality, Byath was basically like a blank slate, because Byath basically didn't have any existential emotions or anything. And once Byath became a teacher at Garreg Mach, then Byath managed to start developing a personality and becoming more outgoing and open. But before that, Byath was known as the Ashen Demon as a member of Geralt's mercenaries. And this encounter with Byath is actually confirmed to have taken place a year before the events of Three Houses. And probably Three Hopes as well, because I think the three events of Three Hopes, the Academy arc, is the same as Three Houses. So Shay is seeking revenge against Byath for that encounter. Now, does that mean that the people are speculating, does Byath not become a member of the Garreg Mach in this one? We don't know that, though. We don't actually know that. It's entirely possible that Byath still becomes a teacher, and so Shay becomes a student at Garreg Mach and joins one of the Three Houses, and you can actually pick that for that one. And that, of course, is once again a separate route for the other two. So the routes in this game are different, and I think that, unlike in Three Houses, the routes here can be very different, because it's exploring the whole map, and the story will be based on that kingdom. So I think that this time around the routes will be way different than they were in Three Houses, because they can do that. So I'm definitely intrigued by that. I want to see more about the region outside Garreg Mach itself, and we do see a lot of that, because we get glimpses in here of the whole world map. Yeah, so we get more glimpses of the world map here. This looks like it's like I almost wonder if this is supposed to be showing that and this is a Crimson one, and she's already taken, and this is like a Dresden Empire one, and they've already taken over the Alliance. So they just have left the king here. Maybe that's what it's saying, but I'm not sure. Aelgard's route is Scarlet Blaze. That's based on no, wait, it was Crimson Flowers in the original one. So it's now she's going by Scarlet. Azure Gleam, that's the same as the Azure Moon one. Golden Wildfire, that's based on the Golden Deer. Wildfire is kind of an odd terminology, though. We also get to see confirmation of course, Shay is playable. We also get confirmation that Aelgard, Dimitri, and Clara are playable, but we get confirmation of their retainers. Hubert is playable, Dedu is playable, and so is Hilda. But I think this actually implies a lot more than we already see. But here's the battle scenarios. This looks interesting. We get a lot more information here, because we have these different sections. We have certain like those like small villages and towns that are dying landscape, and you can do various objectives. Here's your enemy force. Here's the enemies here. Looks like Aelgard's going after the Alliance, and here you've got Anna on the map too. Anna encounters maybe it's being merged. Maybe it's a different thing, because I think in Fire Emblem Warriors, Anna on the map would mean that there was a harder battle there, but I don't think it's the same thing here, because this is a lot different. This world map it mixes things up a lot. Oh yeah, here's a merchant. A random merchant shows up. He'll sell you 3 advanced steals for 1,000 gold. That's kind of interesting. So when random merchant shows up, you can get different special things, special items and everything. Also, here's a new Yes, I think this is down here because down at the bottom of the region here. Okay, this is a different setting because here you got Garrick Mach, and there's going to be a battle here at Garrick Mach, and it's not showing these maps here before from the Alliance, so those are gone right now. Okay, here's another thing interesting too. This is apparently what this class is good against. So you've got weapons. You've also got movement types, infantry, flying. I think this is the effectiveness anyway. Infantry, it's three against infantry, 1 against flying, armor, cavalry, and also beasts. Beasts are a movement type in here, interesting enough. That doesn't mean that they're going to be playable, but I think there's a good chance we'll get at least one playable, and my guess would be Rhea. I think Rhea's going to be playable in this one. You'll be the same weapon types: sword, lance, axe, bow, gauntlets, and tomes. You can also go ahead and equip various skills you've learned. Blizzard, Nosferatu. Ooh, wait a minute. Interesting. I'm guessing the combat art. So combat arts and magic are interesting because that means that the magic it works a bit differently. I'm guessing these might be either special attacks or something else. Like you can equip 2 special attacks, and that gives you a special ability here. That's my guess. What's happening here? That shows the range too, I think. So yeah, I think this is a new way to handle special attacks. And you can also customize them. You can customize magic spells. But the main movesets will be all the same per class. So each class has the same moveset. We've already seen this. Okay, here's our new weapon. It's a sacred weapon. It's got that same style. Labronda is the name of it. So Labronda is the name of her weapon. She's also being supported by a mage down here, and it looks like this mage is actually playable. In fact, this mage and this character down here, I think they're all playable. This is probably Bernadetta. And this character, I don't know who that could be. But we do get a glimpse of who this other character is here. There we go, right there. This mage, that's Monica. We knew that she was present in the original one, but that is Monica. And it looks like she's playable too. She's a class of mage, and she's equipped with a tome called Wind Caller's Genesis. The Wind Caller is Macule, but as far as I've heard, there weren't any characters who had a crest of Macule. But apparently Monica probably does, because why else would she have the Wind Caller's Genesis? So this, I think, is actually the real Monica. It's not Crony in disguise, which means that Monica survives this timeline. I mean, we already saw Monica before, and it's pretty obvious it's her, but this is confirmation. We don't see that Archer down there is, but I'm pretty sure the Archer is probably Bernadetta, because this is the Black Eagles. Enemy fighter. There's Shay. Now here, switches complete to a scenario where Shay is partnered with Claude instead as an adjutant. So this is now a Black Eagle scenario. We don't get inklings on any other characters on the map here, so we don't know who they are. They're being very cautious about how they handle their other characters. Base camp is bit per team now, and the base camp is based on. Okay, here, class stained. The base camp is now based on your route more than likely, and you can explore base camp too. It's not Garrick Mach, of course. Your camp is not Garrick Mach. I think the base camp is probably gonna be a different design. It's gonna be I don't think it'd be unique. I think it'd be like probably the same per group, but you'll have different symbols around the map. But Shay is going to different reclass options for different classes. And look, there's Lorenz. We get good Lorenz there and Mercedes there. We haven't seen anyone else in the background yet. So we haven't seen too many students yet. It's hard to see how many students we're going to see. Hopefully we get all of them though, because we now have confirmation. All the classes are your movesets. So the amount of movesets is the amount of movesets. So that might mean that they'll include more characters, a lot more characters, and they'll fill in the classes. So the difference here will be what kind of skills they can learn, what their stats are, but the classes are, anyone can be in any class, except for some unique classes. So that might mean that it'll make Works of the Three Houses where you can build up your classes based on your character's abilities, and the easier your character can get into certain classes, that will be basically their ideal route. But again, the classes are the movesets, so that could again allow you to have a lot more characters present here. And my guess is they're going to add as many as they possibly can. So that's just my guess, and that would be very interesting to see. I'm hoping too that like we get like for example, beast. If you get like a class for beast units, like there was a hidden class called Saint in the original game that went unused. No one actually used that class. Maybe we can see like Flame and Rhea use that class, and that allows them to transform into beast form. Perhaps, I'm not sure. It'd be more common than the Ashen Demon. I see this part's funny too.
Finally avenge all
He has casually swapped away his dark magic.
of those who have fallen.
And okay, that I've heard people comment on. That is Rodrigue. Rodrigue may very well be playable here too. That'd be awful if he's playable. Aelgard. Okay, here. These two are very interesting. We basically do know who these are because we can tell based on the design of the cape and their classes and appearance.
No regrets here.
That is Holst versus Count Burgleys, Caspar's father. When throughout the entirety of Three Houses, both these two guys they never appeared, and Holst was always said to be this total badass who's very strong, but he's always sick and just happens not to show up at a certain time. And then there's also Count Burgleys, who's Caspar's always afraid that you're going to fight at some point. So I am so happy we finally get them playable. Not playable, but they appear at least. Okay, this person I think is named Arval, and she's clearly Sultan's counterpart. The one who's speaking to her these past few seconds here is clearly Arval, and I'm pretty sure she's related to the Argarthans, but I'm not sure if she's evil or anything. I'm guessing she's not, but it's hard to say. Now, the Ashen Demon, that of course was a term Bias was known as prior to becoming a member of a teacher at Garrick Mach. Now, there's two routes this can go. The first route is Bias still becomes a teacher, and what will probably happen in that case is whatever house Shay does not join is what Bias will become the house leader of a house that Shay does not join. So Shay joins a house, and Bias is selected basically one of the other two ones. That is my personal guess right now. But there's another possibility, and that other possibility is Bias never becomes a teacher at Garrick Mach and remains a member of Gerald's mercenaries. That means Gerald survives. We did see Gerald in the first trailer. Gerald survives. He doesn't get killed by Kronia. Maybe that could involve... I don't know how it involves Maka, because Maka disappeared a year prior to Three Houses. So it's hard to say what happens with her. But she disappeared a year prior to Three Houses. She's still alive here, and even alive post-time skip. So obviously it's a huge divergence in the real timeline. That does not mean that the Bias is not going to be a teacher. I think that this trailer is purposely misleading. I think there's a high likelihood that Bias becomes a teacher of one of the other houses. And so that will always mean that you'll still be a rival of... Bias will still become a rival of them. So one example could be... Let's say you are... it's hard to say. It could be that... I'm not sure. But it could be that depending on the route you take, a certain other one of the two main houses will be your main antagonist, and then Bias will be the leader of that house. Like, say you're part of the kingdom, the Addressing Empire is your main antagonist. If you're part of the I don't know how it would work for Verdant Wind. Like, usually they'd have to mix it up so that Claude is more against a different group than before. So it's confusing how that'll work, but I'm still intrigued by how it's going to happen too. So we don't really know what's going to happen.
Trust me. No regrets here.
There's something I'm still missing because I know there's something else in here that No, it's not you. There's no hero show up in this trailer that I want to see. Where is it? Is it earlier on?
This world cries out for change, while you keep it I love how you can
Here.
bump into someone in the woods one night and suddenly you're living under the same roof the next.
Now that's what a battle-hardened mercenary should sound like. Maybe I'll just let you handle all the hacky slashy stuff. All this bloodshed
We see Flame too.
to an end.
I'm not seeing where there's a character that shows up. I'm not seeing where he's at this point in time. I'm pretty sure it's a character we've never seen, we never heard about before, but it's clearly an Myron. But I'm just not sure where it is. That's Eagles. This is still a Black Eagles map.
You got my back? There! Careful! Let's link up. Yeah, good to go. We'll do it together! This world cries out for change, while you keep it shackled to the past.
There he is. This guy is clearly an Myron. I'm not sure who he is, but I've heard some speculation. It could be like say it could be a half brother of Claude. That's possible. I don't think it's Claude's father because he doesn't look old to be Claude's father. So maybe it's like a half brother of Claude, but he clearly looks like a noble. So this could be he's definitely not a Myron though. So it'd be interesting to see this character here. I like the fact that we're seeing an expansion of the roster of the characters we see. But I do wonder if maybe that means we're not gonna have all the students present in the game. At the same time, it's hard to narrow them down too. But it's weird that they're kind of slow to introduce all the students. So yeah, it's interesting like that. Let's go check the map because there's something else here. Okay. Is that 8 slots?
You got my back?
I'm not seeing it. There. Okay. This is covering up, but I think it's it looks like you have 6 available slots and 2 adjunct slots, so you can deploy 8 at one time. That's what it looks like to me. I believe in Fire Emblem Warriors, you had 8 slots and you had 4 playable characters and 4 adjuncts. So I think that's what it was in Fire Emblem Warriors. And here it looks like it's 6 main slots and 2 adjuncts instead. And that's noble because if your main roster is be about 8 characters, that lines up with the fact that your houses generally have about 8 characters plus your protagonist. Your protagonist in this case is Shay instead of Byleth. But this because Shay is the protagonist does not mean Byleth's not going to be playable. I'm certain Byleth will be playable and will probably join later on. But at least early on, Byleth is a rival to Shay. Okay, so this trailer is really confusing and really trying to throw people off. But I think it's less confusing than it's going to be. But there's another thing too that this game is going for the whole route split again, and I think we might not have the golden route that people wanted. Instead, I think it might be that each route will diverge a lot more heavily than before compared to the other 2 routes. So I think that might be the case here. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm also a little worried about the fact that they introduced a new character who's kind of being inserted in the middle of the storyline. My biggest hope though is that when they handle Byleth just becomes a house leader of one of the other houses. That's my hope, is that they don't try and restart the whole thing again. Either way, though, I don't think Byleth could be the like a main antagonist or anything. Or I think Byleth would just be a rival / antagonist early on in the game. But it's pretty clear to me. I think that the Agarthians will still be the main antagonists. I'm pretty sure that's be the case. That but another thing too is that Edelgard may not be alive anymore either, which also helps the idea of them being the main antagonists. So that's interesting to think about. Okay, so one more thing here about three hopes. So we got some details on Shay. Here's the female form. I kind of like the design a little bit better than the male form. I'll probably pick the female form. A solitary mercenary. They sought to become a famed swordsman, but faced jealous mercenaries during a faithful mission. They were defeated by an ashen demon. While trying to seek revenge for the defeat, they met the Arts Academy students in the woods. Okay. So basically, Shay met up with jealous mercenaries, was defeated by the Ashen Demon, which is Byleth, and then they're seeking revenge against Byleth. So it's really like it's not really painting Byleth as evil or anything. If anything, they're the ones who have the harsher motives. And on top of that, the first trailer still doesn't talk about revenge, and she was talking about you talk about your revenge and everything. They were talking about Byleth. They're talking about Shay instead. So that's something of an interest. But this is just on the second update of this game, so it's hard to say what's gonna happen next. But it's definitely intriguing so far.